Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. Don't know what it is, but I think there's some sort of unnatural superpowers kind of happening on this bench. No matter what happens, every day more and more stuff gets attracted to this spot. I've just spent the last half an hour cleaning it, and you know, I've still got pretty much stuff everywhere. You know, this bench just like, I mean, what do I do with that? That's just apart from a tri-lock. What's it doing here? I don't know. Where did it come from? I don't know. But I've got it, and it's on my bench, and it's stuck here. Some sort of magnetic properties to this bench. I guess other locksmiths probably have the same problem. Magnetic benches that just attract crap. Honestly, crap. I mean, I've got striker plates, Wico striker plates, template, plugs, batteries, everything. And it took me half an hour just to clean this up. Then I come across these locks. What am I going to do with this? I was gifted these. Somebody gave them to me the other day. A family member who picked them up at auction. I thought, okay, alright, well, great. Cool locks. Nice old locks, but what do I do with them? So anyway, I'm going to take you through and show you what these locks are. And there's a ball bearing. Don't know why, but it's there. Okay. So we got two old mortise locks. These ones were given by a family member. You know, I'm probably never going to install them. They're probably just going to go sit on the shelf. They're like an antique. I did look this model up here, and you can pick one up on eBay. A really nice version of it. Costs you about 150 bucks. It's made by Carpenter, and it's got the crest up here. I'll show you the crest because the crest is really nice. Made of brass right here. See if I can zoom right in. Move it up. And now let's just focus. Okay, that's about the best I can probably do. So as you can see, it's got the crest. It looks like it's got some sort of lion there, something else, and some sort of symbol. Carpenter, patentee. I'm guessing it's probably early 1900s, late 1800s. It is a rim lock. It's fitted on the back of the door. Well, I'm not sure if it's a rim lock, but it's fitted on the back of the door. It doesn't really have a rim cylinder at all. Comes through with your mortise type key from one side. So this is your inside section here that you're looking at. It has a striker plate. Look at that for a striker plate. Sorry. There we go. Let's zoom out a bit. There we go. Let's just focus. Okay, so that's our striker plate. Compared to the standard, you know, striker plates, there's a big difference there. This part here is actually brass, and looks like that part is steel. It's fitted by two screws that go straight through there. When the lock latches, it hits this part here, which is the equivalent to this nice curve right here. So as it hits, it goes in and goes cha-ching. Now this latch doesn't go in and out like a normal latch. No, this one here, when it hits, it actually goes up. So the bolt on it, if you can see that, it's triangle. So it'll hit kind of just like that, ride that ramp, and then go behind that right there. So that's actually brass. It's pushed out of shape a fair bit, as you can see, which is a bit disappointing. I mean, it can be repaired, it can be cleaned up. Brass on steel, mounted this way, mounted that way. There might even be some sort of extra plate, which I believe there is, which is missing from this side. A little bit annoying it's not there no more. So this right here is a brass piece. It's got some markings there. Carpenter, what's that? Something. Can't even read that one, but it's got a little engraving there too. Alright, so what type of key does it take? It takes a mortise key, and unfortunately, that's a mortise key example. Unfortunately, this takes the really big ones. Last time somebody wanted a key for one of these, it was what we called a sand casted key, which means they get a block of sand or something along those lines, melt a whole heap of metal into it, and then you get a really rough looking key, probably two times bigger than this, and then you start filing down and carving it up. And last time, I believe, or actually 20 years ago, when we quoted on making a key to this, I believe it was in the vicinity of, you know, 150 plus, because they were really expensive keys. I mean, you might be able to get keys out there cheaper, I don't know, but that's what, when I was working in that particular shop, that's what they quoted. So yeah, just more plugs and more plugs just keep turning up every time I look at this bench. Alright, so let's have a look inside. let's see what's in here. So back before we had Phillips head, we had flathead on everything. Lock I did the other day, old Wiser lock I think it was, or something Slage lock. That one was all flathead too. So alright, so let's take our 2 screws out. It's got a couple of extra holes here. They would be for your mounting. They would probably come straight through, 1, 2 and 3. So I mean, I like that with the body. At least they made it easy back in those days. I mean, we had no power tools, we had no cordless drills, so everything was kind of manual. So at least installation of this type of lock would have been fairly straightforward. If you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, couple of holes, one for your spindle, one for your key, and you'd be right to go. Also, they do come with a nice scutcheon for the keyway on the outside. We didn't get that either. That's very fancy. It's a nice piece of metal. Come on up. Probably hasn't been opened in a few years, so let's hope there's no spiders in here of any description. Let's just have a look and see what we can see. Okay, one big piece of real steel. You don't normally see that. Okay, it has been opened. Somebody has had a go. This is not normal. What is that? For men. Low-in for men. It's a perfume thingy. Here you go. Looks like it's from a sample of some description, and somebody's trying to fix their lock with a piece of paper. Don't know how that works. Alright, so here is our latch. So when the spindle gets turned, the handle gets turned here. It's going to move this part here. It's going to push up against here, and it's going to allow the door to unlatch and to open. So by turning the handle, turn the handle, pushes this up, pushes this out of the way into this section here, so it's not holding behind that little notch right there. Now these big springs here, they do break. I have seen people ask for these big springs, but we don't have them. And as you see, it's a big spring here that goes down, curls around and comes back, and the whole idea of this spring is to put pressure this direction. So I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to modify and do something else. This should just be removable now, held in there by the case. So you've got a hole on one side, hole on the other, and you've got a big deep groove there. Just looking to see if it's been repaired. I think it has. Can you see that? I think it's been repaired, slightly brazed. Yeah, it has. So that sits in there. Okay, this is our latch part right here. Is that even loose? Yeah, that doesn't look too good. Look at that. So that is kind of the nut, the cap, and you've got a pin that comes all the way through from the other side, and to fix that we're just going to have to hold it on one side and tighten it up. So there's the other side of it. They've used the same type of technique here, so it's how would you say, a bolt on one side, probably with a screwdriver, flat head screwdriver, and then on this side, see how loose that one is too? So that's how they would put them all together. When the key goes into here, it has to marry up with all these shapes right here. So that would be the security in the lock. When the key goes in, all these grooves on the side here would actually have to make the pattern here. And when I'm looking at this, you know, it looks like some sort of indentation there. That's what allows the key to be different. We're going to have to go deeper on exploring. This is our bolt now I'm just taking out. So it's pretty big. And that would be our drive right there. So looking at it, I believe the key would pick that up. Part of the key would be driving that. Just looking at it here, yeah. So the tip of the key would be actually pushing that out. As long as your key can go all the way around, because it's matched that shape there. If you get to this point here, is there a lever under there? Ah, there is one lever. One lever. Is that still working? Yeah, it's still working. There's a spring for it there. What is that spring? Very unusually the way that's done. Still quite strong. Oh jeez, a lot of pressure there. So that, the key would operate, push that up, pick up that and allow it to slide. That little notch right there, let's see what that does. Oh, okay, that's for there. So this won't slide because it needs the key to activate this part, and when it does, then it'll allow it to slide. You can see the marks here, so obviously that's there. Somebody really has had a go at this. I'm getting a marking here, 11 I think it is, stamped on that part there. You can see the big break right here. Doesn't look very good. Maybe it's been repaired there as well. Okay, let's have a look at this part here. Now this is actually fixed into the case, so we can't really do anything with that. We can't remove it, and that's pretty much all there is to this lock. So when the key goes through, matches the grooves here, comes up around here, pushes this up, which then allows this bolt to move. This bolt will move when the key is at the 12 o'clock position inside that array of different shapes, and once it is, then this will be able to just pop straight on out, and the travel would be determined by this section here. If I could move this, I could demonstrate it, but I can't. Then again, these old locks, they did have some sort of security, but they're not high in security, so I'll see if I can just manipulate it just to kind of show you. I need a little tiny L tool, which I cannot find at the moment. It's okay, little flat blade screwdriver should do it. See, after I finish showing you this, I can now get this off the bench. Okay, so I'm going to be pushing this thing up out of the way. Okay, so I'll push this section up here, pushing it up. I'll show you what I'm doing. You can see that that's been pushed up out of the way. That now allows my bolt to go backwards and forwards. So that's basically all there is to this particular type of lock. It's not very sophisticated. I mean, it worked for many years back in the olden days. I mean, you know, locks were reasonably easy to bypass too, if you think about it. You had a coat hanger or Allen keys in there, you push this one up and you can push the bolt in or out, and there's quite a lot of room in there too. But this was back in the days when you know, there was no cars, no this, no that. So just putting this back together now. So the era of this lock, somebody might know better than me. I'm guessing 1900s, early 19, late 18. Look at that, real steel. Just pop this back, pop the screws in it, stick it back on the shelf where it can sit for another 50 years, because there's absolutely nothing I can do with this. So I can tell which ones had the screws because they got a slight bevel there or chamfer there. There's plenty of these locks still around. I believe they probably still make them for antique purposes, so you could probably even buy something like this if you're trying to redo your house and you've got one of these on the door. I had one of these on a back door of a place I lived at for many years. We actually still used it for quite some time. Okay, and there we have it. So that was a quick overview of a very old-fashioned mortise lock. Thanks for watching, or rim lock.